Gary Vee recently said something that stopped me in my tracks. He said the world is about to become a barbell. On one side, you have AI, robots, extreme technology, weird stuff we're not ready for. And on the other side, you have old school, analog, real, and human. And then he said this: as the world goes more AI, analog will explode. Now, I've been building magazines for 15 years, and when I heard that, I thought he just described exactly what I've been seeing happen in real time. Because magazines sit firmly on the analog side of that barbell. And right now, the timing to start one has never been better in the history of independent magazines. So let's get into it. Now, before we dive in, if you're new here, my name is Kate, and I am a two-time editor in chief and the founder of the Editor Academy, which is the most comprehensive course on starting a magazine. I've been building magazines for well over a decade. I reach millions of people per month across my publications, and I've helped hundreds of students start their own magazines from scratch. I'm not here to sell you on magazines because that's what I teach. I'm here because the data, the culture, and now one of the most followed entrepreneurs on the planet are all pointing in the same direction, and I don't want you to miss it. So let's talk about what Gary Vee actually means when he says the world is becoming a barbell. So the idea is that the middle ground is disappearing. The generic, the average, that's what gets squeezed out, and what's left is the extremes. So on one end of that barbell, you have extreme technology. AI is generating content on a scale that was unimaginable 5 years ago. And your social media feed is already full of it. There's AI generated captions, AI generated images, AI generated talking heads that look almost real. Everything is starting to look and sound the same, and it's not going to slow down. The volume of content being produced is going to increase exponentially, and almost all of it is going to feel hollow. On the other end of the barbell, as Gary Vee says, you have the 1950s, old school, analog, human, real connection, real experiences, real things made by real people. Gary Vee talks about the rise of old school real life businesses as a direct response to the extreme digital AI world. And he says as the world goes more AI, analog will explode. Now, here's where it gets interesting for us because what sits on the analog side of that barbell? Magazines, real editors, real writers, real photographers. Every byline in a magazine is a real person who stands behind the work that they made. You don't pick up a magazine, digital or print, and assume anything in it was made by AI. You assume that it wasn't. That implied human guarantee is baked into the format. And in the age of AI, that guarantee is becoming one of the most valuable things in media. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Now, this isn't theoretical. The data and the way that the industry is moving is already making its case. 86% of US adults read a magazine in the last 6 months, print and digital combined. That's 223 million people in this age of short attention spans, which just goes to show you the audience for magazines has never been bigger. And Gen Z, the generation raised entirely on Instagram and TikTok, is leading the charge. The data shows that 89% of Americans under 25 read at least one magazine in the last 6 months. This is the generation with allegedly the shortest attention spans, and they are actively choosing magazines. Think about that for a minute. And even previously closed magazines are coming back. The relaunches just keep coming. Savor came back to print after dropping it in 2020. Spin magazine published its first print issue since 2012, which was a 12-year gap. Life magazine announced its return after closing in 2008. Field and Stream, Nylon, Heavy Metal, Business Week all came back. Publishers who abandoned the format are now running back because the audience is still there. W Magazine is launching Double Youth, its new teen sister magazine launching in September 2026, with Sofia Coppola and her daughter as contributing editors. A Gen Z trend expert called that the fourth teen magazine she's heard was in the works in the last month alone. So even teen magazines are about to make a comeback. Netflix announced that starting August 3rd, the content from magazines like Vogue, Elle, Vanity Fair, Cosmo, People, Harper's Bazaar, and Architectural Digest is coming to their platform. Netflix specifically went looking for magazine brands because people trust them, they have an audience, and the weight that these titles carry is something that takes decades to build. Jay Shetty, who has 50 million followers and one of the most downloaded podcasts in the world, just launched a digital magazine. What he calls the first digital magazine ever built from a podcast. When he was asked why, he said it was to give the conversations more room to unfold. So even someone with 50 million followers decided he needed a magazine to go deeper. This is not a dying industry. It's an expanding one. And Gary Vee just gave us the analogy to help us understand exactly why. So, why now specifically? Why is this the moment for magazines? Three reasons. First, there's a trust crisis going on right now. We are living through an authenticity crisis in media. Social media feeds are flooded with AI generated content. Sponsored posts are disguised as genuine recommendations. And we're constantly being fed content that's designed to keep you scrolling instead of any that actually serves you. And people can feel that. Something about their feed feels empty, like it's manufactured. A magazine is the opposite of that. And 71% of consumers now say that magazines feel more authentic than social media content. That number is only going to grow as AI continues to take off. Even the New York Times had to publish a statement explaining how they use AI, or more importantly, how they don't. Publications are now having to actively defend whether there are real humans behind their content because that assumption is under attack everywhere else. When you start a magazine, you step into a format that already has a trust signal. The format does that work for you. Now, second, the barrier to entry has never been lower. When I started my first magazine in 2011, the tools available to an independent publisher were pretty limited. You needed the right contacts, distribution relationships, and design software to help you publish, but back then, there were not a lot of options. Today, you can design a magazine on Canva. You can distribute it digitally for free. You can design a website without ever touching a single line of code. You can build an audience on social media before you ever publish your first issue. You can sell advertising from a media kit that you built in an afternoon. The gap between having a magazine idea and actually launching a magazine has never been smaller. What used to take a team and a decent budget now takes one person and a laptop. And third, there's a niche opportunity here. The magazines winning right now are not the legacy giants. They are the specific, hyper focused niche titles. A magazine for female surfers, a magazine for urban farmers, a magazine for art lovers, a magazine for people who take coffee seriously, a magazine for people who love motorcycle racing. These are real publications with real audiences and real revenue. Because in a world of infinite generic content, a magazine that speaks directly to who you are and what you care about is incredibly valuable. Gary Vee's barbell world creates the conditions for niche magazines to thrive. The middle, which is that generic broad content, gets squeezed out. The specific curated human content is what survives. Your niche magazine is on the right side of that barbell. So, what's stopping you from starting one? Absolutely nothing. I've been teaching people how to start magazines for years, and I've heard just about every objection. So, let me answer the most common ones. The first is I'm not a writer, and you don't need to be. Magazine editors curate, they don't necessarily write all of the content themselves. You can feature contributors, interview experts, license content, Your job as an editor is to have a vision and execute it, not to write every single word yourself. The second is I don't have a big following. I started my first magazine in 2011 with zero following, none. I didn't have an email list or an Instagram account at all. We started on Twitter. My first issue got shared by people I never expected, landed me brand collaborations, and opened doors that I never could have imagined. A magazine does not require a big audience to launch, but it does help you build one. The next objection is I don't have design experience. Tools like Canva have made magazine design accessible to anyone. And if you want to go deeper, that's exactly what the Editor Academy covers: how to design a magazine that looks professional from day one, even if you've never opened a design program in your life. Then there's the objection of I don't know how to make money from it. Advertising, brand partnerships, affiliate revenue, subscriptions, digital sales, print sales. Magazines have more revenue streams than almost any other content format. And because magazines offer more trust than social media, brands will pay to be associated with one. And finally, there's the objection that the timing isn't right. Gary Vee would disagree. The data would disagree. The 223 Americans reading magazines right now would disagree. The multiple new teen magazines would disagree. Netflix would disagree. And so would I. The timing to start a magazine has never been better. Gary Vee noticed something. He looked at where the world is going: more AI, more automation, more generated everything. And he said, the analog side of that barbell is about to explode. I've been on the analog side for 15 years. I built 2 magazines that reach millions of people a month. I did it starting from a college apartment with no money, no following, and no publishing experience. I just had an idea, a niche, and a willingness to get it out there and make it better over time. And now I teach others how to do the same. If you've been thinking about starting a magazine, whether that's digital or print or both, I would love to help you do it. The Editor Academy is the most comprehensive course for starting, growing, and monetizing a magazine, no experience required. And I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check that out. The world is becoming a barbell right now, and magazines sit firmly on one side of it. There has never been a better time to start one. This is quite literally go time. So if you want to learn more about starting and growing a magazine, I would love for you to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.